time, Nomura was able to wriggle off the hook with 1:30 to go, and now they hold a favored position.
We're not going to have it. They call to each other.
Game here is to get up to full speed. KR makes his move first, and he'll be going faster when the gun goes off.
Go down below the line. 20. 17. 14. 13. 4, 3, 2, 1, gun.
Another clean start and another good job by Dellenbaugh.
Hi there. I've got a few thoughts. There's been an awful lot of shit that's been going on for, let's see, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 9 months. About an incident that occurred last July at Nanocon. I wasn't there. I heard about this incident 2 weeks after it happened. The incident involved Elliot Martin, also known as Secular Rarity, a person I have met at a previous conference in 2022, better, and who I've known of since probably around 2020. Affable, charming young fellow, but he did something, and I'm pretty sure, at least I don't know anyone who says that he didn't do something. But the something that he did has been attested to by Nancy of the Apostate Sisters. And that something was violent. It was a violent assault. I'm sure that if you look around these precincts, you'll be able to find a full reading of Nancy's account read out loud by her sister, Patty, who was also accompanying her to this conference at Nanocon in Tennessee. Elliot was one of the organizers of the event. I won't go through all the details, but suffice it to say that what happened was Elliot, however he got there, and Nancy, PC, I see you. That's what I'm doing. I think that it is a wise idea to let people do this in their own way. I have actually addressed this once before, back in January. I did a whole stream on how communities of trust get violated. You can go back and watch that. It's called, I think, Communities of Trust. You all may realize that I've backed off YouTube tremendously because of what I was saying in that video. I'm not going to get sidetracked here. Bear with me. I'm going to just turn off the chat so I don't get sidetracked. What happened was PC put the link to that, to the notarized statement. And PC, if you want to put up the link to Patty's reading of that, it might be easier for some people to just do that. And it also might be really effective to watch what a sister had to say about her siblings' assault that night. Her, her, her sibling, Patty, the victim, the woman that SR assaulted in a empty, unsupervised stairwell. The organizer of this conference assaulted this woman in an empty, unobserved, unsurveilled stairwell. Elliot pushed Nancy down the stairs and himself went down the stairs, threw himself on top of her. Did, well, go listen to Patty's reading Nancy's statement. Let's say none of this there was no consent given. If at any point in time, between the time that these two first interacted and that event, the event that happened, there was any sort of consent, consent was withdrawn. Again, I wasn't there. No one else was either. But Nancy made a powerful statement. She had it notarized. The fact that it's notarized really only means that she appeared in front of a notary and attested to the fact that she had indeed written the thing. But you need to read or listen to what happened. People in the side chat are pointing out the obvious. You don't consent to being chucked down a stairway, nor do you consent after doing whatever the hell you thought you were doing. Turn around, walk back up the stairs, and then turn and try to strangle the person you just chucked down the stairs. Folks, this happened in fucking July. Nancy's 10-page notarized letter details how things progressed since then. When I first heard about this going on, what did I expect? Elliot's got some explaining to do. It's the very first words out of my mouth when I first heard about this. And I would have thought that he was doing some of that explaining to the police. Because when that sort of thing happens, and you're in a position of authority, or have any kind of responsibility for a gathering of this sort, and you've had any sort of training in bullying, harassment, sexual abuse, tell you what, the first thing you do is call 911. Even if the victim doesn't want you to. How does this old drunk bitch know this? Because this drunk bitch has been a U.S. sailing official and has taught kids how to sail. And in order to have either of those positions, I had to have 5 hours of training and answer an exhausting set of questions after each session about what to do. Why'd I have to do that? Because it's U.S. code that any official in any Olympic sport in the United States has to have that training. Why, you ask, is that actually in the federal code? Because it happens. And it has happened. A lot of people know. A lot of people know of what happened with the U.S. gymnastics team. Simone Biles and several other athletes testified before the Senate about what Larry Nassar did, who was cooling his jets in a pen in Michigan. A lot of people know about Joe Pa. A lot of people know about douchebag at Ohio State. Because it happens. A lot of people know about the priests who got shuffled around the Boston Archdiocese and throughout New England. A friend of mine was deeply involved in that as a victim of a pedo priest in his local parish church in Freeport and at Chevers High School right here in Portland. Because it happens. It happens in sports communities. It happens in schools. It happens in churches. And it's taken this country a long time to figure out that it can happen anywhere, that there, especially where there is an imbalance of power. Especially when people in positions of authority or respect use that authority and respect to garner the unwanted attention they crave. From those who put them in a position of trust. It happens in the church. It happens in schools. It happens in parish halls and families. And it happens at atheist conventions. Where there aren't such regulations. No one is forced to take this kind of training. No one is forced to sit down and understand just exactly how accountable they should be when organizing events like this, because it can happen anywhere. Now, I haven't been as vocal as some, at least not publicly, not here. A lot of people don't trust me in the so-called atheist online community. A lot of people have used in the past their position of trust and authority to go after me parasocially. Nobody's ever thrown me down the stairs, tried to choke me. Well, a lot of people have, said, she's a clown, she's a drunk, she's a this, she's a that, or the other thing. She's a nasty woman. Who else uses that phrase? Oh, yeah. The sexual assaulter in chief. Now, his Uncle Bobby, who had a brief rant about this thing, and I hope to keep this brief, said, what do you do when you hear a story like this and it's the second worst thing that happened? Because the worst thing that happened was the aftermath. Starting with the failure to immediately contact the police. That's one. Two, the failure of the person who first encountered Nancy to do anything more than bring her back to her room. Three, the failure of the participants at the event to really dig in, make any effort to make the assumption that Elliot and Nancy had just had a fun time the night before. And why is that? Because Elliot, according to everyone's testimony, walks in the next day, puts his arm around Nancy and says, "How are you, hon?" And because from the jump, rather than actually saying what happened, Elliot has said, "Ask Nancy." And everybody well, read Nancy's statement. Listen to Nancy's statement. She was traumatized, wanted to fix him, thought she could do it herself. This is how a lot of us were trained, and a lot of us, our upbringing was like, I can fix it, I can fix him. It's almost classic. That's why you call the cops. That's why you get the professionals involved. That's why you don't try to fix it yourself. So, all those folks that didn't want to ask the questions, didn't want to really probe, I understand there was a Facebook thread. I don't go on Facebook. I didn't see a lot of that stuff, although I do understand. I understand that others have probed into that thing, and I've seen some of the excerpts there, and I don't. I'll call out all of the attendees there, especially the people that were involved in that Facebook thread, and their names have been bandied about elsewhere. Godless Engineer, Arden Hart, Dr. Pan, those guys, they didn't probe. They've been rallying around their family like with a pocket full of shells. And that just ain't it. The thing is, that's that's the kind of family that wants to sweep this bullshit under the rug rather than holding the guy that did it accountable. That's not good. But the thing that's been disappointing to me in the entirety of this is how the focus has drifted away from Elliot Martin and into um, calling out individuals and getting their hackles up so that, oh well, you know everybody's individual interpersonal parasocial gripes with one another that breed in this sewer that is atheist YouTube, getting them all at war with one another rather than keeping the focus on what happened and keeping the focus on what do we do to make it not happen again. Now, if it were me, if anybody's listening to this who is organizing one of these things, first of all, do you have a safety coordinator at your conference? Do you have someone who is designated as the person who is a safety coordinator so that if something like this happens, they're gonna pay attention. They're gonna call 911. Has the conference arranged with the local authorities that they should be aware that we're having this event? Here's our safety coordinator. They have taken Safe Sport or something equivalent, some equivalent. They understand their duties, their responsibilities should anything like this occur. I'd want to know that. I'd want to know that I would want to build a community of trust around my event so that people could feel safe. I would want to know that. And I would also want to know that I could count on people to speak out, or at the very least, not platform the people who do this. I would want people to stand up and you know not shy away from telling the dude not to do this. I would hope that people wouldn't laugh about it, make jokes about it. I'm very disappointed with a whole bunch of people that I've interacted with, you know, within this so-called community. That wouldn't tell Elliot, go sit in the corner for a bit. Not just for a bit, but, you know, come out and, hey, what happened? I've done stupid things, nothing anywhere near as egregious as this. I've done stupid things, mostly online. It's like, hey, well, you know, sticks and stones and all that. I said shitty things and apologized. You know, I know lots of people who've done shitty things and apologized and taken stock. Has anyone asked Elliot to take stock aside from Jay Bundy and a few other people here and there? Haven't seen it. People have put out, you know, people have put out videos where they said stupid things simply, you know, like edited them cleverly after they realized the stupid things they said and but never said a bloody word about how the stupid things they said. That's not exactly the kind of thing that's buying any credibility or building any level of trust. Hey, I said something stupid. Here's the stupid thing I said. Tell you what I did. I took the video down. I edited it out, and here's why. Huh? That's not. That's doing the thing. Right? And I have said this from the jump. I've said I haven't necessarily done videos about it because, as I said, I'm trying to stay out of this godforsaken hellhole. After getting my ass fried by people who came after me hammer and fucking tongs. This community's not safe. It's not. Your heroes are garbage. I don't care who they are. If they were Richard Dawkins, garbage. Larry Krause, garbage. Richard Carrier, kind of garbage. You know? Anybody remember Elevator Gate? Elevator Gate? Let's see what's going on here. So yeah, I'm. This is kind of. It won't be my last word anywhere. I mean, I'm going to try to, when I have the opportunity to engage with people off screen, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to keep asking these questions to them if they were in close proximity to the thing. But in my own way, in my own time, and you can hate me or despise me or love me for that matter for doing it, but you ain't gonna know about it because I'm not gonna give accounting of myself and what I do to anyone on YouTube because people think it's my obligation to do so. My obligation to this fucking community is done. I'm not platforming anybody. I'm not speaking for anybody. I am doing what I can for myself. And part of that is stepping away from the fucking poison that, this what seems to be the people at the core of fame and glory within this community feel is the right thing to do. Silence isn't the right thing to do. Non-engagement isn't the right thing to do. I mean, and when I say that, I don't mean that necessarily. You got to pick your own way. My channel is tiny, and my channel has been dormant for quite some time. Matter of fact, the last few times that I did, Jay, go back and listen to where I mentioned John Gleason. Go back to where I mentioned Ben Torben Hamilton. Go back to where I mentioned Arden Hart. Rewind this stream. Right? Go back in this stream, right? I just glanced at the chat and it's like, okay, I've got, I wasn't asked to do this by anybody. It's just how I feel. And it's how I felt for a long time. It's how I've told people, in other venues. Right? That I think this thing has spiraled and will continue to spiral. Yeah. Well, I didn't watch your fucking stream, Jay, because I blocked you after you basically said, be aware, this is what we're going to do. And I felt that I had to get out in front of that a bit. You were so busy going after me that you weren't paying any fucking attention to me, just like you haven't paid any fucking attention to me since fucking January. Okay? That makes sense, Jay? Going around telling people who've been doing something that they haven't been doing anything. Great. Now I won't tell you what else I've been doing, and I won't tell you what the I don't care, Jay. Stop spamming my fucking stream. You just told me in the side chat you were saying stuff about me on your stream that you were too busy doing because you didn't to watch my stream because you were doing your own. Fine, you do you. I don't care. It's all good. Don't be so fucking sensitive. I'm not going to be sharing people's DMs. I'm not going to be sharing about back room conversations. I am not going to do that. It's unproductive. I'm not attacking anyone, including Dr. Bundy here. I'm not attacking anyone. Though I am attacking an issue and I am attacking the notion that a man capable of chucking a woman down a flight of stairs, running down, jumping on her, walking back up to the top of the stairs, okay, let's if that was bad. And then he chokes her. I'm attacking that behavior and I'm attacking that guy for being such a fucking being a goddamn violent potential killer, to be honest. Okay. For those of you in the back, and for those of you who have been listening to the stream, please, I urge you to go back and listen to where I name names. Okay. Okay. I urge you to do that before you start saying I haven't. Would you like me to do it again? Okay, I will. The people who are at Nanocon, some of whom I know, the people I know who were there, I don't have the fucking attendees list. You can probably find that shit elsewhere. But I do know Ben Hamilton was there, Ardenhart was there, Gleason, John Gleason was there, um, probably others, and they did fuck all, and have been doing fuck all since, except watching the mayhem go by and contributing to it, rather than actually taking on what happened and how do we make it not happen again. I don't really care about um, I don't really care to know what people's, you know, fun little games they were playing. The fun little game ended when a violent assault occurred. Totally non consensual violent assault occurred, and then nothing was done about it. Okay. That's really kind of all I got to say on the matter. I'm going to keep working behind the scenes to call people to account in areas that I can. But this community, so called, is quick to shut people down. When they don't, when quick to shoot the messenger, I should say. That's been going on almost every issue that I've ever been involved with. Not been involved with quick, with some. Okay. And everybody's walking around half wounded on account of the fact that they won't listen to one another at all. Take on the idea that, yeah, there are ways to make sure these conferences are safe, and these are the ways you ought to do it. But one way you don't do it is by inviting the guy who did this to your next conference and actually have him featured. Skeptic Haven, why the fuck is any mention of this cause for instant banning on your channel? Why is that? Why are you standing for Elliot Martin when you know he's done this? Why? Wes? Huh? Michael? Huh? Why? Why is that? You see, it's just happening again. Dr. Bundy, you've been naming names and of people that I have been friendly with or people I thought I could trust for quite some time, and I haven't. It's like I'm not being defensive here. You think I'm not talking to these people? You may not. Yeah, I am. I'm trying to get them to understand what the wrongness of their position and to change it. In some cases, I've been successful. In some places, people don't want to talk about it, and it's like, well, you're going to have to fucking talk about it. It's going to, eventually, it's going to have to be talked about somehow or another. But all everyone wants to do is to talk about how people are failing in talking to one another. And okay, well, that's fine. But what are we going to do about what happened so that it don't happen again? You can despise me or despise this other person or blah 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 blah. But can't we at least find, like, did it happen? What do you think about it? Should that sort of thing be happening wherever you go in society? Because that sort of thing does happen wherever you go in society. And some pieces of society have taken responsibility and have the sufficient awareness to know that the potential exists for that sort of thing to happen. So they take steps to prevent it. So basically, I think that sums it up. For me, that sums it up. We got to take steps to prevent it if you want to keep having these things. Me, I'm walking away. I've said what I said. You can take it with whatever dosages of salt you wish. But I think Elliot Martin needs to speak out and acknowledge what he did and how wrong what he did was. Jay, you are anything but dumb, and I have never called you dumb in any venue whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I have always praised your intelligence. And rather than to engage in a back and forth with my side chat here, which I, by the way, I thank you all for coming, I won't ask you to like or subscribe because I don't care about this channel. I really don't. I feel like I've said my piece. I feel like I feel like people need to be asking these questions of everyone involved. All of the people that Jay's already mentioned, AJ Lilly, and who else? Godless Engineer, and Detroit Atheist Queen, and everybody in the community that has been standing for SR ever since this happened, or ever since they became involved in the back and forth of this entire thing. Intimidating other people. Oh, you can't say that about Elliot. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't want to say that. Let's get together and figure out the best way of addressing this, right? Oh, you're headed off the reservation here. No, 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 no. Come on back. We love you. Please come back. You know, I don't know what's gained in that. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what's gained in a posse of protection built on suppositions and in some case fantasies. From my point of view, of course, I'm not saying that that's at all the case with anybody because I don't know. I'm not living in people's heads. But this ongoing obfuscation of what happened, who's responsible for it, failure to have enough fucking introspection to realize that in so many regards, everyone at Nanocon was responsible for this, especially the organizers, especially considering SR was one of the organizers. That conference shouldn't go forward until they actually sort this out and have a wholesale broom sweeping and a recognition that this was their failure. Cons can be fun, cons can be great, but know what you're signing up for. And if the things I talked about earlier in the stream, thanks, Tux. Thanks for telling me that. I'm sorry. Gosh, I wonder what the hell that's all about. It probably is. Here I've been talking all this time and everything sucks, but everything sucks, I guess. Anyway, I really got nothing more to say. And anyway, so I'm going to sign off and hey, listen, have a good spring.